business owners are going to pay thousands, if not millions of dollars in penalties because of this new law that begins on January 1st, 2024. And sadly, this is going to catch so many people by surprise. This is what is going to happen if you do not comply with this new rule. First, you can be charged penalties up to $500 a day. Then you can face up to 2 years in jail time, and you can be charged up to $10,000 in fines. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my channel. My name is Ricky, co-founder of Ricky and Nikki Accounting Services. And what we do here is we make taxes very easy to figure out. So stay tuned because you're not going to want to miss out all this information. Known as the BOI reporting requirements. What does BOI stand for, you might be asking me? It stands for Beneficial Ownership Information. If you own an LLC or a corporation, you are now required by law to file an annual report that discloses any information about your company and its owners to the government. And if you do not, the government is going to penalize you. But do not panic, because in this video, I'm going to break down everything down so you can understand and grasp all this information so you are not fined and you can have financial peace of mind knowing that you don't have to worry about any of this and you can just run your day-to-day operations. Now, this could be problematic for anybody with a bunch of LLCs that are just laying around or LLCs that they don't even use anymore. But if you watch this video until the end, I will tell you everything that you need to know. We're going to talk about who is required to file, to who is exempt from this requirement, what owners have to reply, what information needs to be reported, the deadlines that you don't want to miss, where to actually file, and what to do if the information you filed changes at any time in the future. So let's not waste any more time and get straight into this video. All right, so first of all, who is required to file this report and who is not? So like I said earlier, every LLC and corporation must file an annual BOI report. Basically, if you registered your business in your state, you are most likely have to file this report. Now, if you operate as an unincorporated business, such as a sole proprietorship or a general partnership, you do not need to file this report. In addition to that, you are also not required to file this form if you are considered exempt. Now, typically when we hear exempt, we think of tax-exempt entities like nonprofits, for example. A nonprofit organization are exempt from this requirement, but there are about 23 other types of exemptions for this report, which range from banks, public accounting firms, to inactive entities. Now, let's talk about inactive entities for a second, because there are a lot of people walking around with LLCs that they're not even engaged in. And I know a few people who don't even know about all the LLCs that they started that are connected to their name. Now, in order for your entity to be considered inactive, you must meet all of the 6 requirements. So now let's go through them. Number 1 is the entity must have been in existence before January of 2020. If not, you're required to file this report. Number 2, the entity is not currently engaged in active business. 3, the entity is not owned by a foreign person. 4, the entity has not experienced a change in ownership in the last 12 months. 5, the entity has not sent or received funds greater than $1,000. That's going to catch a lot of people. And 6, the entity does not hold any assets like vehicles or equipment. So if you do not meet all 6 of these requirements, your entity is not exempt and you must file this report. Most businesses will have to file this, and there are over 40 million entities that are going to have to file this. So let's keep this video going. So which owners in the entity must report? So basically, anyone who owns at least 25% of the entity must report, or any owner that exercises substantial control over the company. So even if you own less than 25% of the entity, but it's deemed that you control that in some way, you're still required to report. Substantial control exists of any of the following criteria. Number 1, you are a senior officer in the company, like a CEO or a CFO. Number 2, you have authority to appoint or remove senior officers. Number 3, you make important decisions regarding the entity. And number 4, it's like a catch-all. Any other substantial control. So if you meet any one of these, your information must be reported in the BOI report. Now let's talk about what information must be reported. The required information is very simple and straight to the point. So for an entity, you have to report the legal name, the address, the IRS EIN, or tax identification number, which can easily be found on your last tax return. Then for each beneficial owner, you have to report the full legal name, birth date, current address, and their identification number. That could be either a driver's license, passport, or any other government official document. And that's pretty much it. But what is important is filing by the deadline. So let's talk about these deadlines for the BOI report. So there's 3 different deadlines. The first is going to be for entities created before January 1st of 2024. So which is probably going to be the majority of you guys watching this video that has entities. So if your entity existed before January 1st, 2024, then you're going to have to file this report by January 1st of 2025. Now, the second is going to be for entities created after January 1st of 2024, which will apply to any new entity you create going forward. So if your entity was registered after January 1st of 2024, you must file the initial report within 90 days. Initially, it was going to be 30, but now they pushed it to 90 days. So basically, you're going to have, like I just said, 90 days to file any new LLC starting January 1st of 2024. And lastly, this is for entities filed after January 1st of 2025. So those entities are only going to have 30 days to file. So as you can see here, the government is giving existing entities more time to file the initial report, but they will be shortening it at the timeline as entities are formed later on in the future. But where exactly do you file this BOI report? Let's talk about it. So where you file this BOI report, all you have to do is go to fincen.gov/BOI and then you click the file button. Very simple. You will also find additional information and guidance to help you complete this form. Or you can get with a tax professional like myself. But hold on, wait a minute. But there's still one final thing that still has to be addressed about this. And that's going to involve what to do if your BOI information changes. If you don't get this right, the government can charge you penalties and fines. So let's just talk about that for a second. So look. So if there's any change to your initial report, you must file an updated report within 30 days. For example, if you create a new DBA or you hire a new CFO or anything or something as simple as changing your address, that information must be updated in your BOI. And that's the same that goes for beneficial owners. So if you have a beneficial that changes their address, that must be updated as well. So drop a comment below if you have any questions at all, and be sure to subscribe for more tax tips, tax updates, and everything tax related. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.